Food bloggers, hi, how are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Eat Blog Talk podcast. This is the place for food bloggers to get information and inspiration to accelerate your blog's growth and ultimately help you to achieve your freedom, whether that's financial, personal, or professional. I'm Megan Porta. I have been a food blogger for 13 years, so I understand how isolating food blogging can be. I'm on a mission to motivate, inspire, and most importantly, let each and every food blogger, including you, know that you are heard and supported. You are going to want to download our bonus supercut that gives you all the information you need to grow your Instagram account. Go to eatblogtalk.com/Insta growth to download today. Do you consider yourself to be a productive entrepreneur? Okay, even if you're going to say yes to that question, you absolutely must tune into this episode. Oh my gosh, it is packed with productivity value, efficiency, streamlining, all the things we need in our lives because, as you know, we have so much going on. Leslie Shreve from Productive Day joins me in this episode to talk about productivity. She is a productivity guru. She's been focusing on this topic for many, many years, so she knows so many things that are going to help your business feel so much easier, including inbox tips. She had so many great tips for organizing your email inbox so that it doesn't feel like it's going to strangle you every single day. And it's not limited to that. There's so much more about gaining time back in your workday every single day, how to get more accomplished and be less stressed and not have a to-do list that overwhelms you. This is a great episode. I'm going to come back to this one often. It is episode number 638. I hope you love it. Food bloggers, hello, imagine this, a retreat where learning, growth, and community come together in the most delicious way possible. Join us at the Eat Blog Talk Spring 2025 retreat happening March 6th through 9th in Minneapolis. With only 10 spots available, you are in for a treat that is intimate and very personalized. This retreat is packed with mastermind sessions, special SEO information, and incredible connections that are sure to be made. But the real highlight, Chef Ryan from Cookery Amendola is going to cook for us. Ryan's dishes go above and beyond. You will be blown away by his customized multi-course dinner on Saturday night and so many other delicious goodies enjoyed throughout the weekend. Every retreat that Ryan has been at has been a truly unforgettable experience that everyone raves about. And it's not just the food, Ryan also brings the fun. Reserve your spot now to tap into all of this awesomeness. Apply today at eatblogtalk.com/retreat. Leslie Shreve is a workload management and productivity expert and the founder and CEO of Productive Day, which was established in 2003. Leslie is also the creator of Taskology, the science of getting things done, a unique proprietary and all-encompassing system for workload management and productivity that includes the management of tasks, time, email information, and more. Leslie works with corporate executives and professionals to show them how to increase efficiency and productivity by up to 300% in as little as 4 weeks. Also, to gain 1 to 2 hours back in their workday every day, spend up to 50% less time in their email inbox, and reduce stress by up to 90%. Clients who were previously frustrated or overwhelmed with too much to do, too many emails, and too little time now claim to have a secret, a strategy they can use to get things done faster and easier and make more meaningful progress on the products and initiatives that matter the most to them and to the future of their business. Leslie, such a pleasure to have you on Eat Blog Talk. How's it going today?
It's going great today, Megan. Thanks. And I hope your day is going well too and productively.
Oh, yes. Productive is one of my favorite words. I've been obsessed with this word since I started working when I was in my 20s. So we are on the same page with this topic today, Leslie.
That's
yes,
good.
We're going to have an awesome conversation about being productive just to help you get control of your life and your business and all of the good things. But before we get to that good stuff, what is a fun fact about yourself?
A fun fact about me. Well, one thing I can share is that the Shreve family, as my last name is Shreve, is connected to so much history in America, and it's fun, especially on the East Coast. I'm here in Baltimore, Maryland. So we have ties to, Tillman Island in Maryland, and we are connected with Shreveport of Louisiana, which is great. Actually, Henry Shreve was my third cousin, 6 times removed, because he's from back in the 1800s. He was actually responsible for dredging the whole Mississippi and coming up with a few
What?
patents of different kinds of boats. Yep,
That's so
patented
cool.
the steamboat, even though Robert Fulton got credit for the one on the Hudson, because that was a deep draft. Where, well, in the Mississippi, you need a shallow draft boat. But the real fun fact is that I am a great granddaughter, Edward and Louise Barney, who actually used to own Jamestown Island, which
Whoa.
was 1,500 acres. And I'm thinking, wow, it'd be cool if that was still in the family. But
Yeah.
they have a plaque in the ground by the Jamestown Church thanking Edward and Louise Barney for having donated the 22 and a half acres out of the 1,500 for that piece of land that has Jamestown Church and the old church tower on that property. So a little bit of great American history that I love about the family, but those were my
That's
great-great-grandparents. And
so
it was just fun to
cool.
know that.
That is
Yeah.
really cool. What history there. And yeah, great to be tied to that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Love learning that about you. And your business is called Productive Day, correct?
Mm-hmm. That is right.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about Productive Day?
Not at all. Productive Day is a company that I started 21 years ago. And I love what I do, helping executives and leaders and business owners help them have a much more efficient and effective and productive workday so that they can make more meaningful progress on the projects and the initiatives that matter the most to them and to the future of their company, of their business. And I started this after a 13-year career in corporate, something completely different, by the way, so not even related. But back then, I knew that I could use my talents and my characteristics and everything that I had brought into corporate. I could take that with me and go help people with this. So I help my clients gain 1 to 2 hours back in their workday every day, help them spend up to 50% less time in their email inbox every day, and get to zero, by the way. And not only gather, but plan, prioritize, and accomplish their tasks faster and easier and with a lot less stress, and without having to give up all their personal time to make the progress they really want to make. I love my business. I love helping people because my mission is to help you with your mission. Too many people out there these days are being prevented from actually doing what they do best and spending their time on the things that makes their heart sing, that allows them to serve others. And they're not able to get to it because the way that they're working in their workday is actually holding them back. So my whole mission is to help people break through all those obstacles and roadblocks in the how of how they're getting their work done. And I can expand on that today because there's a lot to know about that. But I really want to help them get this out of their way so they can get back to doing what they do best.
Well, let me tell you, Leslie, you are talking to the right people because food bloggers, I don't know how much you know about our businesses, but we have so much on our plates and it is very hard, I will tell you from firsthand experience, to work efficiently in this business because there are so many things and not just what's on our plates now, but platforms, tools. People come at us all the time that are new and we don't know what to do with new stuff, and juggling everything is it's just a lot. So we need you. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
All the stuff that you just kind of teased. Oh, I can't wait to talk about it. So let's dig into it. This is juicy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll start with, I know you have some components that you feel are missing from a typical workday for any business individual. I'm assuming that applies to entrepreneurs as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is missing? What do we miss? And why does it make or break our productivity?
Okay, so the missing piece. When you think about the workday that you're just describing now, feeling a little frustrated at times, maybe a little chaotic or reactive at times, too many things coming at you, too much going on, interruptions, distractions, emails, phone calls, texts, all this activity going on. And a lot of folks, they're in the same boat no matter what industry they're in because there's always so much going on and a lot of people are always feeling behind. And as they try to focus on their work, they have to juggle so many other things going on around them, all this activity that I'm talking about. Tasks are coming at them from more than 10 different sources in the workday, and you've got email and phone calls and texts, et cetera. So what ends up happening is feeling reactive and actually trying to get through these rushed reactive days can cause bad things to happen, right? Because you could miss a task, you could forget a follow up, you could be totally thrown off track by an issue that pops up and you don't feel like you have a grip on your work as it is, but then this issue pops up and it just throws you even farther off
Yeah.
track. And and certainly when you're trying to prepare for meetings and phone calls with colleagues or coworkers or anyone you're working with and you're not prepared, that can be bad too. So there's so many things going on in the day. Stress goes up, personal time drops because if you can't get it done during the day, you find yourself working nights or weekends. So the list goes on of all these different signs that the workday isn't really working the way that you want it to. So, with all of these signs and symptoms, they're actually just symptoms of something of sort of a much bigger problem, if you will. And that bigger problem is that there's this missing piece in the workday strategy. And that missing piece is having a system for workload management. And what I mean by that is that too many people are trying to kind of cobble together all these different tools and tactics and apps in their day to try to stay on top of things. I mean, really, A plus for effort, because people reaching for stuff these days, they're trying to find the solution. They want a to-do app or an email app or a tactic for handling time and their calendar more effectively. And they've got planners and big pads, little pads, spiral pads, notepads, post-it notes, whiteboards, Excel spreadsheets, Word documents. Like they're trying their best to keep up with everything, right? So the problem with that is that when you're using that many different tools, and not even all of those, but I swear to God, clients do bring me a whole passel of all those things all at once. And they're like, yep, I'm trying all this stuff, because they have to. And because no one has ever handed them a system that actually ties it all together and makes it easy and seamless so that everything is easy and actionable and you know where your time is going and you know your inbox is empty and you know how to keep up with everything. If no one's ever handed you that, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Like you've never had the solution. So people are really trying to cobble things together. And when that happens, that's when things start slipping through the cracks because there's too much going on, too many tools in motion, and they're not communicating, they're not streamlined. And yes, things will slip through. And that really is that missing piece. And it will make or break your productivity because when you have that missing piece and you've got that system for workload management, things are much more streamlined and effective so that you're not losing time and you're actually making the progress you really want to make.
So this is very relatable. I think a lot of us can probably relate to this because we have everything you mentioned. We've got an inbox or maybe 2 or 3. We've got the project management software. We've got the tools and the calendar and et cetera, on and on. How do we start managing that then if we feel like it's too much? If we're on overload and we realize that, what do we do? Where do we start?
So where you start is by centralizing your task. So what does that mean? Okay, so centralize. Well, people do try to do that, except that they're not quite clear on exactly what is possible. And if no one has ever modeled it for you or shown you what's possible, it is very hard to wrap your brain around sometimes. What I mean by centralizing your tasks is not just grab the nearest legal pad and then do a brain dump. I mean, gosh, that's a start. So that's awesome. But that's not the whole picture. What everybody is not realizing is that it's actually impossible to efficiently and effectively plan, prioritize, and accomplish tasks by trying to manage them from their sources exclusively. It can't be done efficiently without missing, losing, or forgetting something. And what I mean by source is that if you're trying to remember that most important flagged email, as well as what's written on your legal pad, and then that voicemail that you got and that text, you're trying to remember the most important thing in all those different places, and then trying to prioritize that, that's when things start to go south. So when you centralize your tasks, you're pulling tasks away from their source. So you're getting those tasks and follow-ups from email out of the email inbox because nothing is best managed while it's still sitting in the inbox. So you got to get those out of there. So, I mean, we can talk about email later because there's more to it than that because you also have a lot of reference information in there. Email management is really task management in disguise, and it's information management in disguise too. So, don't be fooled. Email management, they call it that, but it's no different than the telephone bringing you, tasks and follow-ups and information, but we don't call it phone management. You've got to know how to handle the information that comes from these sources. So when you pull your tasks away from the source, you're taking those voicemail messages. And if there's an action step, well, we got to get that on a central digital task list. If there's tasks and follow-ups coming from email, we need to pull those out. If there's something in your head or from a meeting or a hallway conversation or anywhere else, texting, social media, whatever, and there's papers and files probably on your desk, on a lot of desks where people have more paper in their particular job, career, or industry. And certainly if you guys are not that paper intensive, a lot of what you're getting is digital. So you still have to get those tasks centralized and understand the clarity of, well, this is what I have on my plate and not just for today. So when I say centralized, I mean like anytime you want to do something, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next month, or a follow-up in 6 months, maybe there's another podcaster out there that you want to reach out to, but for the next 3 months, they're in Europe and they're on a vacation, but you want to talk to them in 3 months when they're back. Well, that goes on a task list and it needs to come off your mind and out of whatever communication source that came from and get that plan in place. Wrap a plan around everything that's really on your plate. Identify what it is. And once you start seeing them all in one bucket, then it's really easy to prioritize because now you have complete vision of everything that's going on. Not to overwhelm you, but to quickly say, oh, well, that I need to do today, and that's going to have to wait until next week or next month or tomorrow or whatever. And it's with that clarity that you get the power to prioritize and do it accurately. Right now, everything is all scattered. It's very difficult when things are not in your vision because then you're missing something and you might be forgetting something. But when we build this central digital task list, and by the way, in whatever software you have, so this is a methodology for the technology. My system is not software, it's a methodology. And once you build that, then you've got everything in one place. So my clients have anywhere from 30 to 150 tasks on their task list, but they're not all for today. Yeah. But having them in their vision gives them that clarity, that awareness, so that they know exactly where they are with everything. Yeah.
So do you have recommendations for easy places to centralize everything? So I'm assuming you can start with a simple Google Sheet or just a handwritten page in your journal. Where do people mostly start with this?
Well, that's where we want to really be careful with getting away from paper, actually, because paper is a tool, not a system. So paper is actually holding people back. And I know that a lot of folks love to write in their planners or special journals or in any kind of beautiful format. And that's great for creativity and for maybe journaling, but it's not great for task management. So using paper to try to keep track of things to do and plan and prioritize is the first way to sabotage your productivity. It's actually holding people back. And I know a lot of people love crossing things off, and they love writing because it actually does have a nice, strong connection with our brain. But I got to tell you, if you want to be efficient and effective and productive, and you really want to rock it, you've got to get away from paper and go digital. Now, you mentioned Google. Google would not be the first place to go unless you try something like Google GQs. That's one place I've checked out. I've not used it yet, but you can't just use a digital, like you don't want to turn it into a digital legal pad. So no, we don't want one long list of just a typewritten list. We don't want that because when you get it in a system like, I'm sure, because I've used Todoist, but for 20 years, I've been building this in Microsoft Outlook. Unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs are not wild about Microsoft, so they're using Google, but Google doesn't have a suitable task list. It's not great. That's why I looked at GQs because that is a Google product. But Todoist would work well too. You have to have a place where you can actually group your tasks by day so that, because there is a limit to how many you can do in a day. And this is another place that people get a little twisted up and turned around because if they use an actual legal pad, they're like getting everything down there on paper. And I've had clients tell me before, oh yeah, when I used to use my legal pad, anything I wrote on that top page, I was trying to get that all done today. Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's way too much. And so that's the, misalignment really of tasks and time, where people have this big bucket of things to do and this tiny little thimble of time, and they never match up. And so you got to get away from that, because you really want to not only see all your tasks in your vision, but make that decision of, yes, this must be done today or tomorrow or the next day, and then limit yourself and make it a very, very small selection of tasks for one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're planning it out. You're wrapping a plan around it with what you know right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because is it going to change? Absolutely. Priorities change like sand in the wind. You have to be able to pivot and turn on a dime very quickly, but without missing, losing, or forgetting anything. And when it's all in a digital system, you can not only see it, but you can reprioritize instantly. That's why I love Microsoft Outlook, because you can get so many tasks on the screen in one screen view, even though you're compressing all future days except for today, which really helps, by the way, with the overwhelm. And a lot of other systems like Todoist, you can't really see a lot of tasks on one screen, and it is a little bit harder to prioritize, but at least they've got the right format. I'm looking forward to using a lot of other pieces of software in the future, because this methodology can be applied anywhere, but you really have to have some functionality. And I think that's where the new Microsoft Outlook, by the way, the one that they're trying to get everybody to use, it's called Microsoft To-Dos or something. Like it's even different than the old Microsoft to-do list, but it's just worse because they've stripped out all the functionality and it makes it kind of useless. So I'm always on the lookout for systems like, I think it was Notion or Monday. One of those is another good one that allows you to kind of group things like that. Yeah. So get away from paper. That's my bottom line.
And I know you said that a Google Sheet wouldn't suffice, but that's what I use. And I do the same thing you're talking about. It's probably a little bit more laborious than if I had a to-do list software like you're referring to. But yeah, I do this. I list out all of my tasks, and then I break down my weeks by day. So I Sunday through Saturday, and then I kind of lump tasks together on each day, and then I try to make them manageable, and I cross them off as I go. And if I don't get them done, I move them to another day or move them to the greater list. Does that kind of sound like something you're talking about?
Yeah, it does. And one of the things that sounds good to me is the ability for you to select different days for different tasks, because that's really key. So if I should be looking at Google Sheets, I'll take a peek at it, because I do want it to be simple. None of this is complicated, and in the method, I mean, and that's what I like about some of the software out there. But some of the other stuff is way, way, way too complicated. And this is one of the things that I think pushes people away, and they get frustrated, or they might try a Asana or Trello or Todoist or Notion or Monday or whatever's out there. And there's so many bells and whistles and colors and categories, and oh my gosh. And they're like, wow, how do I make this work for me, for my stuff? And I'm got to tell you, it's way too much. Like, you don't need all that. Yeah. The only two things that you guys need to know to start out with right out of the gate is what you need to do and when. And in our system, the task is a very, very, very small action step. Yeah. So it's either the first action step to get something started or the next action step to keep something moving forward. I was just looking at someone else's to-do list that I was training in a team training setting, and she had put too many projects there. And I needed to help her with that, because you can't just take a list in a digital format and then start throwing projects in there or multi-step tasks, because that's not going to serve anybody. They have to be small, actionable, achievable tasks. And I mean small. And this is one of the things that others are not defining for people out there. The other productivity consultants and gurus, and there are plenty of them out there.
Yeah.
And nothing against what they try to do. But if they're not defining a task, it is leaving people spinning their wheels.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like this concept of moving everything to one spot, even if it's an email that you need to, attend to a project detail or whatever. Like, something in the email needs to go on to your centralized location. So everything should refer back to this central spot.
Mission control.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not just replying to an email. Obviously, you're going to want to do that quickly, and you could leave that in the inbox for a hot minute. But if there is an action step required before you can answer that email, that's the task for the task list. Call Mary so I could get an answer to this question before getting back to Bob.
Yeah.
Or, I have to look into something before I can get back to John. Those are tasks for the task list, because they have to be prioritized with everything else that you've got going on. And at this point now, once it's on mission control, once it's on that Taskology task list, because that's the name of our system is Taskology, once it's there, then you know it doesn't matter where it came from. Like it's a task. I don't care whether it came through a text or an email or whatever, but it's something I have to do. And now it has to be compared to everything else so that you know that for this moment, right now, today, that you're spending your time in the wisest of ways, because you don't want to be going for just the easiest thing or the thing that's most fun. You really want to make sure you're going after those either revenue generating tasks or business builders, money makers, money savers, making customers and clients happy, all that kind of stuff. That's the best use of your time.
All right. I like that. And then I know you have a tip for gaining a couple hours back in your workday. Does this relate to the centralized mission control? Okay. Talk more about that.
It does. So when you're looking for more time in your day, a lot of people think it's all on the time and the calendar bit. And that's true. Part of it is that when you're trying to get more time back, you do have to become a master at protecting time. So we here at Productive Day are not about finding time, keeping time, looking for time, or making time. No, you already have time. But what people need is permission to protect it. Some people already take that and they do it themselves and they're like, yep, I'm going to block this time and it's my own. A lot of people are looking for permission because they feel guilty, especially if they have a team or coworkers and they want to stay available to others. But I got to tell you, you've got to have some quiet time during the day that's just for you. That might be closed door time. It might be just quiet time. It might be uninterrupted time, whatever you want to call it. But you're going to have at least an hour to an hour and a half in the morning and the same in the afternoon. And it's different for people in corporate versus entrepreneurs, so there's two different approaches here. I don't mean to blanket over it, because certainly in corporate, they need to address it differently because they don't have the same freedoms that entrepreneurs do who are working from home, But in both cases, you still need to protect time to do the two most important processes of your workday, and that is task management and email management. Now, to get more time, and by the way, the time blocking bit is not just like, oh yeah, I know all about time blocking. I'm going to throw a time block on here and there when I feel like it. No, you've got to get into more of a method and a strategy, because ours goes a lot deeper than that, so that my clients know how many days a week to do it, how many times a day, how long the time block should be, and what to do when things go wrong. So we've got them covered from now through eternity. And you're never going to want to get into that situation where you've, maybe blocked a bit of time on a recurring basis and it's up, December 31st. That's bad. That's going to leave you without time in January. So you never want to run into that situation, but you also have to have more time than I think what people are blocking right now. Definitely more, because even though a lot of people are like, well, but I don't want to, I don't want to be out of reach for that long, or I don't want to give people the wrong impression. I'm here to tell you, you've got to have that time. Unless you're okay working nights and weekends all the time, you need this time during the day to get that stuff done. So that's the first way that we're getting some time back at Productive Day. The second way is by managing everything else in your workday, because that's what's really going to give you another big hit of time. And when I say everything else, it comes from three places. It comes from streamlining your processes for task management, email management, and information management, because this is where time is going. So for instance, we've already talked about task management, because people lose a lot of time writing and rewriting to-do lists. I hear it all the time. That's one way that time is lost. But there's also a lot of time is lost in the planning and prioritizing process, because it's so cumbersome if you're looking in like 10 different places to see what you're going to do today, right? The other way is email. Everybody hates email, but of course, it's scrolling off the screen and we're chasing emails all the time and trying to figure out if we've forgotten something or something scrolled away that we needed. Very difficult sometimes for people to find stuff in the inbox or in a folder on the left side of the screen. It's also, they're losing time, because if they're flagging emails or putting a star next to it, or they want to come back to it at some point in time, the issue becomes time lost rereading emails you've already seen but couldn't do anything with, because they're still sitting in the inbox. So what we want to do is get those out of there, because you've got reference information stuck in there, contact information, something that should be printed and filed, something that should be saved in the hard drive, and then tasks and follow-ups. And again, nothing is best managed while it's still sitting in the inbox. So you really need to get those things out. And so in the process of people trying to manage things in the inbox, they're losing loads of time, loads and loads. And then the third area is information management. Too many people are looking for things they know they have, but just can't find. That could be contact information, papers, files, to-do lists on the desk or elsewhere in the office, or they're looking for something in the hard drive or in the cloud or somewhere else. I don't know. There's a lot of different places for reference in our workday. So anytime you're not reaching that bit of information that you need fast enough, well, now you're being held back from finishing that task. Or maybe you can't finish that email and send it off. Maybe you can't find that attachment so you could reply to so and so. So anytime you're losing time like that, any bit of that time is so valuable and you can't get it back. And so what people don't realize is that by streamlining those three processes in your day, you're going to get tons and tons of time back because you're never going to have to read emails twice sitting in the inbox to know what to do with it. You read it the first time and get it out of there. And then you've got it moving on to the best location where it's really meant to be managed. I mean, contact information is a great example of that. We have contacts. We've got a CRM. We got a place for contact information. Let's get it out of the email and get it where it's best managed. We have systems for all this stuff. And if you don't have one, we want to create one. So it's going to save you a lot of time.
Are you really wanting to be a part of one of the eBlog Talk mastermind groups, but you're just not in the place to make the investment right now? The eBlog Talk Accountability Group might be the perfect fit for you. For just $34 a month, you'll get access to weekly accountability check-ins, a private Slack channel, live productivity sessions, and monthly Zoom calls with fellow bloggers and me, Megan Porta. Achieve your big blogging goals surrounded by supportive, like-minded creators who truly understand your journey. The eBlog Talk Accountability Group is here to help you stay focused and motivated as you build your awesome brand. Head to eblogtalk.com/focus today to claim your spot. And the process of creating those systems can be work, but it's upfront work that once set, they should be flowing, right? So they're kind of in motion. You shouldn't have to worry about them.
Yes, because as you continue to use them as they're intended, they should have zero maintenance. And that's true for the task list too. I think that's where people get stuck with other types of lists, and they don't have a methodology for the technology. They see the demos and boy, their marketing is slick and the demo makes everything look so fun and easy. But then you try to build it with your stuff and you're like, I'm not quite sure how to do this, or I don't know if I'm doing it right, or I don't know how much of this I need to do, or, and then they don't have a guide. They don't have someone at their side. It's like, well, okay, let's use a food example. It's like, first of all, not having the right recipe or the right ingredients. So that would be the technology, but it goes beyond that. I like to give my clients, the master chef standing right there next to you going, okay, here's how you do it. Here are the nuances. This is exactly how you do what you need to do. So more than just having the recipe, you really have to have somebody who knows how to work it,
Yeah. I mean, there's so much for us to manage. I was just thinking through like photography, there's videos we have to manage, contacts, emails, projects. I mean, I could go on and on. So I think it's just a matter of starting somewhere and just kind of cleaning up the mess little by little. Would that be your suggestion?
Well, sure. Here's my strategy for you guys. So when you're looking at the stuff on your desk or the stuff, related to, writing posts or doing the photography and social media posts and all the other things you need to do, anytime you're looking at something like, okay, this is a project or this is something I have to accomplish, just sit there for a minute and think, okay, what do I need to do next? Now, if you haven't started it, then it's what do I need to do first? And think of it as if you were going to do the thing right now. Like, what would I literally do first? And we could make something up or pick one of your current projects or tasks right now and talk through it to give everyone an example. But you really want to think small when you identify those next action steps. It's surprisingly small. And that is your task.
Yeah, I like that. And again, it can be a bit of an ordeal getting to the point where you're cleaned up. I've been through this process before, but it feels so good to do this, to go through this and just organize and streamline your life so that you know where to go for things. It's an incredible freeing feeling.
It is, and it's not a one and done. So everyone who's thinking of this like, oh yeah, I just need to get organized. That's not even the point. That's not even the first step. And it sounds like it is, but it really isn't. What you're really wanting to do is get a system in place that is going to constantly keep you on track so that you never ever have to feel like you've got to get organized again, because that's not what it's about. Your goal is to be more efficient and productive. And the only way to do that is to have a variety of little like individual systems, one for your process for managing email, your process for managing tasks, the process for managing time, and the one for information as well. And it's almost like having a couple of mini systems within the larger, workload management system that I'm referring to, because everything that has a streamlined process, if it's followed, it makes things so easy from day to day. It's like the pay-as-you-go program. You never want to have a to-be-filed pile as an example, because that's just going to cause you more work later. Your systems should be so fun and easy to use that you just continually use them and they kind of maintain themselves.
Can you talk more about email? You touched on this a little bit. Don't keep things in your inbox for too long. It's really pointless to keep looking at the same email over and over. I've been there. I've done that way too many times. Do you have any other tips for us? Because email is an issue for a lot of us.
Yeah. And, for Google users, I feel for you guys because I'm, coming from a Microsoft Outlook world where you can actually move hundreds of emails at the same time, move or delete. So if anybody out there has the secret of moving more than 100 at a time or more than a screen view, and in the systems that I've been in for some folks, it's like you can't move more than just a certain amount of email at once. Like if you want to file them in bulk or delete them in bulk, never seen anybody do more than 100. And if that's true, that is a huge limitation for everybody. And it's like, I can't even help anybody yet if they've got 50,000, 100,000 emails. I mean, I worked with somebody who had 400,000 emails coming from 10 different email addresses. And when you get up that high, I can't help you yet because there's too much. Everybody let it fill up. And so we can't even get a system in place until all that backlog is gone, because that's years and years of emails that's just clogging up the system. And if you can't just move them out in bulk, well, then we're kind of stuck. So my advice to everybody out there right now who has a Google account for email, my advice to you is never, ever, ever let that get out of control. Get it in folders somewhere and don't leave it in the inbox. And of course, I think in Google, it's in both places, which makes it impossible to ever get to zero. That's why I like Microsoft Outlook and other systems, because you can literally move things out of the inbox and you can see that it's at zero, and you've seen everything, you've made a decision on everything, and you've moved it all to better locations of either reference or action, or it's gone, archived or deleted. Anytime you've got stuff in both places, it's like you're not really sure what you've seen or not seen. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the secret is in Google, but if anybody knows how to get things moved out permanently and get to that empty inbox, I would love to know. Because it's going to be hard until you get that stuff out of there. So my tip for people is don't let it spin out of control. If you're thinking, oh yeah, I'll just do the search for the rest of my life, you're going to be in trouble when you start maxing out and then you hit limits. And you'll probably lose your mind because you're not sure what you've seen or not seen. And you're just sort of accumulating all this stuff that's really not serving you anymore. It's just clogging up the system. Second advice is, once you can move things out, set up a folder on the left for those old emails. Just call it 2020 to 2024 emails or something, and get those suckers out of there, because that's old stuff. You want to be able to see new emails coming in and know those are the ones that you need to see right now and make decisions on. And then from here forward, you're going to make decisions immediately and say, okay, I can delete that. Or, oh, I can file that. Or, I've taken care of that and I can delete it or file it or get rid of it, or save something in the hard drive. Just make decisions on what you're receiving. Decide whether it's for reference or action. And then if it's not something you need, don't just keep opening and closing things and just skipping over them in the inbox, because now it's piling up, basically. And it's going to become more of a burden than you might think. I think once people get the empty inbox, and when they learn taskology and they kind of go through this system and learn it, they say to me, I never realized what a burden it was until it was gone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so true. My email has been a burden to me for so many years. I finally feel like I have it under control, and I can't even tell you how much mental clutter has been lifted from my soul.
Yes, it's liberating.
It is so liberating.
Because doesn't it feel like, Megan, when it builds up, when anything builds up like that, you're like, God, my work is never done.
Yes, always. I found that I was thinking about my email in the middle of the night, right away in the morning. I mean, all times of the day, vacation,
Yes.
weekends. I was worrying about it,
Mhm.
worrying that it was building up, that I was going to open it and just be so overwhelmed. And I
Right.
don't do that anymore. And I'm
Good.
so happy. It has literally changed my business. I feel so
Good.
much lighter.
Good. See, I love that. And I love that when I help my clients get to that point, they get addicted to the white space.
Yeah.
And they have a process then to know how to get it back to zero every single day. And it's easy peasy because now they have the systems to do it. They have the processes to do it. It's really about thinking, decision making, and execution. And they've got it. That's why it's a methodology for the technology. It's not the software. The magic is in the method. Don't think that the bells and the whistles or even that the AI is going to do it for you, because guess what? It's not. You still need the skill.
That's really funny. I talk to so many people who are kind of like that. They assume that a new tool, a new whatever feature is going to just solve all of their problems for them and make them productive and efficient and organized. But it's you. You have to do this and you have to keep up with it.
I'm sorry to break it to you folks, but there's no tip, tool, tactic, shortcut, app, or hack out there that's going to save you from email. You have to become a decision-making ninja. And even if you said to me, well, Leslie, I know exactly what this is and I know I want to keep it. The question is now, what do I do with it? So if you don't have a place for everything, that's the system that's missing. It might be a system for your e-documents in the hard drive or in the cloud. You might be using Dropbox or Google Drive. That needs to be systematized. You have to make that easy to use. You definitely have to have a place for contacts, maybe a CRM, but you have to have places to contain this reference information, because if that isn't ship shape, you are going to lose loads of time, not only trying to figure out where to put things, but then figure out how to find them again.
Yes. And you talked earlier about Google Mail, Gmail, which I think most food bloggers probably use. I don't know many who use Microsoft, but one thing I do in Gmail is I use the crap out of labels. So I'll just create a label and then kind of store either temporarily or permanently things there to get them out of my inbox like you're talking. And it works wonders. You can color them, you can highlight, you can do whatever you want, organize so that things take priority. So that's one thing. And then also here's something I learned the hard way, just archiving absolutely everything. There's this little button at the top that has a down arrow. Don't just trash emails. I used to do this and then I needed an email desperately and it was gone. And it was trouble. It was not good. So now I archive absolutely everything. And just my last tip on Gmail is actually, this has nothing to do with Gmail, just email in general, is getting someone to help you. So I have somebody who combs through my email daily and just gets rid of the garbage. And that has eliminated so much mental clutter for me. I don't know if that's a tip you use, Leslie, or...
I haven't, because I'm working with a lot of C-level executives and directors and people who don't have the luxury of, getting someone to do that. And I say luxury, some people don't want to hand that out because they are the CEO and, they might not have the desire to do that because they want to see everything, and other CEOs might want to, so just like business owners and entrepreneurs, some have a comfort level with that and some don't. I would say that's awesome. If you train the person right, and I know you have, because they know now what to look for you, and they know what is junk or trash or something that should be filed or something you absolutely have to see, right? So setting expectations and training are key, and I totally support that. So I think that's awesome. If they're your first level of defense, if we will, from email, awesome, because then they're going to leave you the stuff that you really should see. And I think too many times people are trying to offload email to somebody entirely, and I'm like, dude, you still have a job. Like, you're still the COO or the CEO, or, you can't hand off everything. There are some things that only you can do, or that only you can see, because you are the leader in the company and you do need to see this stuff. So you can't offload everything. But yes, there are some people who can help with a lot of the easy stuff. And then they can kind of hand you that small selection of things that is really important for Megan to see.
Right.
Yeah, and I totally support that.
And it's a process. It wasn't an overnight situation where we just tackled it overnight. It took weeks. I mean, it was like stage 1, let's take care of this. Okay, and then she kind of got to know my inbox and what I wanted to see and what I didn't. And we made a few minor adjustments. And I would say after probably 3 weeks, we had a system down. And I know it's been I wish I would have done this years ago.
Soon.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think it's awesome. Being who I am, I'm always at zero. But if I were in the shoes of, someone like you, and it just was too much for what I'm trying to accomplish, I would totally want to go get some help. Yeah. And I think before doing that though, what I'm trying to help people understand is that when you do have a process in place and you have all the systems that you need and you know exactly how to make decisions and you're a quick decision maker, I'm making it so easy for people to just do it on their own very, very quickly and be done with it. And then they don't even need the person,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you don't need yours. I'm saying a lot of other people might not need a person. They just need a process so they can just like get in, get out. Nobody gets hurt. They move on and they're like, yep, got it under control. So now they're addicted to the white space and they know exactly what to do. And so I love helping people be able to do that. And if they are getting like hundreds and hundreds and they need that help too, well, that's awesome. Like, let's do both.
I love this. I think inbox management is so undervalued. I think if you can get your inbox not necessarily at zero, some people can't get there or don't want to get there, but if you can have it manageable, you can clear so much clutter from your mind. Even if you don't think that's true, just try it and see.
Well, and let me add on to that really quick, because I know that is great advice. And I want to push it a little bit further to say, hey, folks, I know you might want to run up to me and go, hey, Leslie, I'm so excited because my inbox is down to just, I keep it around 20 all the time. Okay, well, that's good. That's great. But those 20 are all tasks. And that's why you left them there, because they're all things that you have to do. And so I know you're proud and I'm proud of you. But what you're doing is you're fragmenting your task management. So you might still have a planner or a legal pad or a whiteboard or a Word document or a Google Doc, with stuff on it. And then you've got these emails left in the inbox. Be very, very careful of that because you're holding yourself back. What you've done is, and remember, I said that nothing is best managed while it's still sitting in the inbox. One of the things you can't do with those emails is plan and prioritize them. What you're doing is you're looking at them over and over and over again to go, okay, why did I keep this? And if it was a flagged email amidst, 1,000 emails, you're going back to the flagged emails and asking the same question. What you've done, though, if you've only got 20 left in the inbox, is that those are basically like flagged emails. And you're going back to go, okay, why did I save this? What do I need to do? Let me read it again. Oh, that's right. I can't do that today because Joe's not here. Okay, let me move on to the next one. Okay, what was this about? Okay, so you're still rereading emails that you've already seen, but you didn't do anything with because you don't have systems in place to handle your task management or, tasks and follow-ups basically, but also probably some reference information too. So you are still losing loads of time because you're not putting them into a process or a system. So Cautionary note on that. Good start though.
No, I like it. Yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere. If you have an inbox of 1,000 emails, you have to start with something and make some sort of improvement.
Absolutely. Just know that there's more that you can do and the potential for it to be even better and more powerful so that you're empowered. And then you can even quickly get back to what you want to do instead of looking at those emails. Because I'm pretty sure nobody here wants to spend one more minute in their email inbox.
No. I know sometimes I have to just force myself to sit and respond. Like, okay, you have 3 emails. It will take you 5 minutes to respond. Do not open this again. Just reply. And when I do that, I feel so good. But it's so easy to not want to open email or to open it and then mark as unread.
Yeah. And move on, right? And then go, let me see the next one.
Yes, exactly. And then you do it how many times? And all of that time you're wasting. Oh, I know.
That anymore, people. Don't do it. It's a trap.
I know. Well, thank you for that. I think, like I said, it's a big pain point. So that will hopefully help a lot of people. So outside of email, what other ways do you have to just accomplish more faster planning, prioritizing, anything you have for people like us who have a lot on our plates?
Well, I would say that if we go back to the idea of centralizing tasks, that's going to make your life easier because planning and prioritizing becomes a breeze. It really does. Because now when you're looking at things in one place, you're just going to save time knowing right away, this is what I need to do. And as you continue to add new tasks as they come up, you're continuing to compare them to what you had already, had on your list for the day and for the rest of the week. And you're making decisions all the time. Okay, this is more important than that. And you kind of keep tweaking your plan a little bit. but without going over a certain number of tasks per day, because again, you've got to have that task time connection. So one of the things I think if you're not doing, you want to start looking at your calendar to understand, okay, this is a great task day, but this is a terrible one, So outside of protecting more time each day to get your tasks done and get through email and stay on top of those things, that's what that protected time is for. You are going to have more meetings on one day than another. Maybe you're going to do all podcasts one day or something else, and you're going to block it out. I caution people on doing that because you really don't want to let a whole day go by and you're not looking at email at all. This is why I tell everyone, no matter whether you're in corporate or you're an entrepreneur, protect time in the morning and in the afternoon to stay in touch with what's coming in, because it will bury you. It's great to say, yeah, I can take the whole day and do this once a day. I mean, once a week, I have a whole day just for something, but that's when things can spin out of control and really wreck the next day.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can at least protect an hour or so in the morning and an hour in the afternoon at some point and really get, a task knocked out or just get that email back to zero, you're going to have so much more clarity, but also peace of mind. Because when you have all those systems in place that I was talking about, the right places for information, mission control for your tasks, and you can get those things immediately out of email. I'm not saying you're doing all the tasks. I'm saying you're getting them out of the inbox and getting them in the place where they're best managed. So you never have to see them again unless it's a task and you're going to do it tomorrow, let's say, or Friday or next Monday, whatever. So you'll see it again from that standpoint, but not from square one.
Yeah.
So you have a grip at that point on all your information and you know where it is when you need it. Trash is deleted, stuff is archived, things are saved in email folders that require no action, and then you've got action on the task list. So, getting that process in place means you can get back to what you want to do that day with peace of mind. I would just say pay attention to the systems that you're using. Is your hard drive, in good shape? Or whether you're using Dropbox or OneDrive or anything else in the cloud, Google Drive, is it ship shape? Can you find what you need in there? If you can't find it quickly, give it a little love. It needs some attention.
Yeah.
Make it easy. Categorize the heck out of it. But don't over-organize, because there is such a thing as over-organizing. And that's true for email too. So when it comes to e-documents and email, be very careful. You want really big categories and then subcategories or subfolders. So try not to do, so let's say, for instance, you have a bunch of, actually give me an example, a really good example for your industry of a folder you might have with subfolders, either for e-documents or email. Either one is fine.
Okay, how about photos with different categories on our blog?
There you go, right? So photos is the perfect major category folder. And then you've got subfolders. A lot of times if you've got financial stuff too, certainly in the corporate world, probably something similar, you might have finance as the major category folder, and then taxes, and then payroll, and then accounting or expenses. That's another example of if you've got all those folders listed as major categories and not under the finance umbrella, almost like all the different photos that you might take of different kinds of foods, you wouldn't want those to be considered major category folders. No, they're subfolders under the photos folder, because your other major categories might be podcasting or, clients or prospects or networking or speaking or, some other thing that's going on in your world. So what I see is a lot of people making categories for everything, but they're all like major category folders. And then the list is endless. What you want to do is group things that belong together. Put like with like. So if it shares a theme, get a major category folder going and get them all under there as subfolders, because then it's going to shorten your list of email folders, if we're talking about email, or e-document folders in your hard drive or in the cloud. So that's going to shorten your list. And you really want to keep that list neatly into a screen view. You don't want that thing scrolling off the screen, because that's what causes people a lot of scrolling and searching through really long lists of stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. You want to have it right there in one screen view. I know people have really big monitors, so your list might be a little longer, but keep it to a screen view and then keep it compressed until you're, looking for stuff and you're filing things out of email, what have you, and then you can expand it and look for what you need. But otherwise, keep it nice and concise, because then you're going to zero in on what you want to find really fast.
Yeah. So one thing I'm thinking of that always gets out of control for me is my desktop. So I'll take screenshots of things to email or whatever, and then I just don't notice a few weeks go by and I'll look at my desktop and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all of these things here. So for something like that, would you start setting aside time each week, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes on Friday to clean off your desktop? Or how would you manage little things like that?
I would not recommend that. Here's my solution for that. You don't want to get into that trap at all. So here's what's happening. Here's what's behind that. I think you and others may be using your desktop because you're like, oh, this is the easy place to put it. Now, my question to you first, before I even answer this and give the solution, is, are those things that you're putting on the desktop something you want to keep permanently and for the long term or for the short term?
And I'm not putting them on the desktop intentionally. It's just when I take screenshots of things, they go to the desktop. So they get saved automatically, and then I can send from there, if that makes sense. So it will save to the desktop for me to do whatever I'm intending. So they're very temporary and I don't need them permanently. They're just like,
So it's
yeah,
only those things,
right.
just the screenshots.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So see, that's why I asked the question, because I didn't want to go down a path here that was the wrong path, because a lot of people do save documents and other things on their desktop because they think it's the easy spot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's easy to find things again. And then it fills up and they're like, crap, I can't find anything now. So for you, and I totally get it, because I have a similar screenshot kind of thing going on, but mine land in a particular folder. So for both of us, yes, you want to set a time. I would even not even let it go to a week. I'd say do it daily.
Oh, okay.
I would say do it daily, do the pay-as-you-go program. The more you keep up with it immediately, like even after you do a screenshot, I would say make it part of your process. Go to the desktop, file it where it needs to go, and move on, and never accumulate anything there. So if you could actually build it into the process, that's where I'm going to go back to saying just don't let it happen at all. Because what's missing is just that final step in the process of, yep, I took the screenshot, yep, it lands there, yep, now I got to file it. Take it to the nth degree, just finish it up. And then nothing ever accumulates there. That is like the to be filed pile I was mentioning before.
Yeah, right.
Don't even let it accumulate. Just make that part of your process. So, for instance, if we are talking about paper file drawers, just as an example, if someone were to print something off of their printer, well, that's the equivalent of just leaving it there on the printer and then going to file stuff once a week. No. Grab that thing off the printer. Your file system should be so awesome that you just open a drawer and drop it right in. You know exactly where it goes. You see the difference?
No, I like that. And I'm good at doing that once I can just put it in my mind, like, okay, you did this, now go delete it immediately. And once I'm in the groove, it's so easy.
Yeah, it becomes a habit. See, routines will save us all.
Yeah.
Yeah, routines that are good will save us all. So yeah, make it part of your process, and then you'll never have to deal with that again.
Okay, great. Well, you just solved one of my problems. So thank you, Leslie. Is there anything else that you want to highlight before we start saying goodbye?
Well, I just want to let everybody know, if you're struggling with this, again, not your fault. If no one's ever handed you the method, the system, to take care of your whole workday, this is something that you didn't know that you didn't know. But just understand that there is a way to get all these things wrapped up in one neat and tidy system. Takes care of everything going on in your day, so that you don't have to worry about making it kind of a hobby to go look for time management tips or any kind of treasure hunt for special apps and hacks and all of that. Like that, those days could be over for you, because there is a system out there that you can just tie everything together. In the meantime, when you're getting started with wanting to streamline all these processes, do what you can. Don't do nothing because you feel like you can only do a little. It's okay. Do what you can to get started today and work backwards with some of the older emails or older papers and files or e-documents or what have you. And let that be one pursuit, if you will, that you can do little by little. I would say the first thing, though, get those tasks together. Get away from paper and centralize your tasks. You can do it. My clients do it every day. It is possible, even though people think it's impossible. It absolutely is possible that you can get away from all those tools and really just get them all in one place and make them all teeny tiny tasks.
Yeah.
It is possible, and I know you can do it. I'm cheerleading over here for you guys.
Yay. Yes, same. It is a huge, it makes such a huge difference in your business when you can get some of this under control. It is a game changer.
Yeah, then you get back to what you love, right? That's what I want you to do.
You lose that over time when things get out of control and messy and cluttered and yeah.
And what you do is important. And I want you guys to get back to it and not worry about all this other stuff.
Yes. Oh, I love your message. Thank you for all of this, Leslie. This was amazing.
You're welcome.
Enjoyed having you here to talk about one of my favorite topics. So appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
I know you just left with amazing, inspiring words, but do you have an additional quote or words of inspiration to leave us with?
Oh boy, not a quote really, but just do one thing at a time. First things first and one step at a time. I think multitasking is a myth. Don't try to do too many things at once. Really give your focus to what needs your attention right now. And don't let other things steal your time and distract you. You stay on course. You just do first things first and one thing at a time. And that will get you there. Keep moving forward in the direction of your dreams. One step at a time. Don't give up.
Yes.
Just keep going.
Yep. So manageable when you can do one little thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. We're going to put a show notes page together for you, Leslie. If you want to go look at those, head to eatblogtalk.com/productive day. Can you tell everyone where they can find you? And if you have any freebies to offer, anything that would help food bloggers, feel free to mention that.
I do have stuff. This is great. So productiveday.com, really easy, really straightforward. We have 3 free resources for you on the website. And of course, we've got the book a call option. So if you ever want to talk to me and just talk about your workday and tell me what's going on, totally can have 45 minutes with me and let's just talk. Let's just figure out what's going on, and see if I can help you. 3 free resources though. The first one I want to mention is the quiz. We have a Productive Day quiz on the site. It's called What's Your Number One Productivity Blind Spot? And the quiz is really fun, really short, just 8 questions. And on the other end of this quiz, you're going to find out if you're a giver, a marker, a jumper, or a detective. And when you get that unique results report just for you, you'll also get a few days later a deeper dive report, a special insights report from me that I've written specifically about that particular blind spot. So you can find out more about what's really going on and how to fix it. So go take the quiz. It's really fun. You can also do the Productive Day Smart Steps, which is a 52-week series of audios that I recorded with strategies straight from our system called Taskology, the science of getting things done. And these are just 2 to 4 minute little audios. And you'll get 1 a week in your email inbox. So go grab the Productive Day Smart Steps because they're chock full of really great strategies. And then the third one is our special report called The 7 Surprising Secrets to Saving Time. And we talked about some of those today, but if you want to get the whole list of 7, go grab that special report. All of these are on the homepage and they're also in the navigation bar where it says, how to get started. Plus we have a new webinar that's up there. So free training. It's 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I can't remember now, but there's a webinar there and you can go watch that and learn more about what this is all about and, more tips and strategies for your workday. But all of that is on our homepage and you're welcome to all of it if you'd like. And we could certainly have a call as well. So productiveday.com. Oh, plus we have like 100 client stories and testimonials on the client results page. So if you ever want to find out what's possible for me, go check it out.
So much good stuff there. Oh my gosh, I want to go sign up for all of that. Thank you for talking through that. It sounds so valuable. Well, thank you again, Leslie, for being an awesome guest. And thank you for listening, food bloggers. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Eat Blog Talk. Don't forget to rate and review Eat Blog Talk on your favorite podcast player. Thank you, and I will see you next time.